Hey folks, I just wanted to bring to your attention what I think is a pretty flippin' good sell on this Mega 1 solar generator made by a company called Oupes. So if you, as a prepper, ever wanted a solar generator but you just couldn't afford one, here's your chance to take advantage of this price slash. And I will put a link to this bad boy down below so you can check it out if you want to. So let's take a look and see what you get. First thing are your cables, so you can charge it by your wall outlet or you can hook it up to a solar panel. So this is what it looks like, and as of right now, and I believe through October 9th, you can get this for $499 instead of the usual $699 or $700 that it would normally cost. Now, a lot of people call these solar generators because you can use solar panels to recharge them, including yours truly, but I believe the technical term for this is a power station. Hey, and yes, just to answer everybody's question up front, this Mega 1 will run your refrigerator, your chest freezer, your CPAP machine, recharge your electronics and stuff like that. Now, one of the first things that I noticed about this is that this thing only weighs about 27, 28 pounds. It's not heavy at all. And I love that not only does this machine tell me how much power I have left in it, but it also tells me how much longer I'm going to be able to run whatever I have plugged into it. And as you can see in the B-roll here, you can see that this is telling me that I can run my refrigerator for 5 more hours. Now, before we go any further, I do want to be completely transparent. First of all, I am not making a penny, not a dime, if you buy this or if you don't buy this. I honestly believe that this is a pretty good product that's priced really cheap right now and will serve you well, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Now, with having said that, Oupes did provide this to me at no cost and asked me to do a review video on it. And our agreement was that if this was a good piece of gear that would serve you well, then I would do the video. But if it was a piece of junk, I would still keep this and I would not do the video. So the fact that you are seeing this video means that I honestly think that this is a good piece of gear. Again, if you buy this, I'm not going to get a cent off of it. I think you're going to get something that's good for a huge price reduction. And besides using this and testing it out, another thing that leads me to believe that this is a good piece of gear and not a piece of junk is for the fact that they offer a 3-year warranty on this. I really think that if this was going to be breaking down on you within a couple of years, they would not offer that 3-year warranty. Also, some of my prepping partners that are really big into solar generators or these power stations, they do say that Oupes is a good brand. Now, I myself, I don't know anything about electricity or watts or anything like that. It's all Greek to me, so please just bear with me as I stumble my way through this video, and I bet my prepping partners probably get a chuckle at me, at my cost, at my expense, behind my back for how little I know about electricity and all those electrical terms. But what I really think that Oupes is trying to do by reaching out to numerous of us prepping YouTube channels and also doing such a price slash on this is I really think they're trying to get their brand as really recognized and well known out there. Now let's see what all you get with this, and please bear with me. I have to move locations from time to time because the sun is so bright today. But the first thing that you get is you get 4 of the AC outlets, so that way you can run things like your refrigerator, your chest freezer, your CPAP machine, lamps, stuff like that. Next up here, you have 2 USB-C ports, so you can charge things like your cell phones and things like that. And below that, you've got 4 USB or USB-A, I don't remember which it's called, but you can charge more things like your cell phones, iPads, etc. And then over here, you have your 12-volt things, so like anything that takes like the cigarette lighter style type of plugs, or also those auxiliary plugs. And then on this side is where you can recharge this machine, this Mega 1. Up here at the very top is where you would plug in your solar panel or panels. And then right here is where you can actually use the cable from your wall outlet to plug it in here to recharge it that way. And then on this side of the machine is where you can hook up external batteries so you can store even more power. Now, what really surprised me about the Mega 1 is how fast it recharges. When I got this from Oupes, it came about 60 or 65% charged. So I went ahead and plugged it into my wall outlet thinking it would take a while for it to recharge. But I came back just a few minutes later and boom, it was already back to 100%. And then when I ran this almost completely dead by testing it out on different things, I used 2 solar panels and was able to completely recharge this from almost completely dead to 100% in just like 2.5 hours. So I think it's really great that I can run my non-energy efficient, really old refrigerator for like 5 hours straight with this thing, and it only takes me like 2.5 hours to recharge this so I can keep things like that running. Now let's talk about exactly what you can run with this. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I do not know much about electricity and all the meanings behind watts and volts and stuff like that. It's all Greek to me, so again, please bear with me. But if I understand this right, this has a 2,000 watt output and a 4,500 watt surge protection. So if I understand this right, if you run some kind of a power tool or some kind of an appliance that has an initial big surge of electricity when you first turn it on, this will handle that up to 4,500 watts. Now, just as a reminder, all of my appliances and electronics and stuff like that's all old. None of them are energy efficient. So here is what I found how this would work for me in my home. The first thing that I found was that this would run my refrigerator for 5 hours straight. Now, I would not use this to run my refrigerator for 5 hours straight. I would not keep my refrigerator plugged into this for 5 hours straight. I would do what they call cycling it. But with only taking 2.5 hours to recharge this, that is just something I'm not worried about. And in fact, if I needed to keep something like insulin protected or something like that, I would actually get one of those little small office refrigerators. And I bet with one of those, you could probably get a lot more hours using this. Now, I also found that this ran my chest freezer for 5 hours straight. And again, that's not something that I would keep plugged in here for 5 hours straight. I would cycle it. I would just plug it in once every couple of hours just to get everything, make sure it's remaining frozen inside. But again, at the 2.5 hours that it takes to recharge this, I'm not sweating that. I also found that it would run my microwave 30 minutes straight. Of course, I would never run my microwave for a full 30 minutes, but it would run it for 30 minutes straight before I had to recharge this. So I had no problem heating up frozen dinners and reheating leftovers using this. And then I really couldn't fully test this on my lamps at my house because this was keeping my lamp with an LED light on it for so long. I wouldn't be home long enough to actually run this machine out on. So running stuff like your lamps and stuff like that, you're going to get hours and hours and hours on those before you have to recharge this. And then of course for like cell phones and iPads and other smaller electronics like that, this handled those no problems. We recharged them numerous times and this was going strong. Now for CPAP machines, I don't have one, so I couldn't test it out. But from my research, using the Mega 1, it will either run your CPAP for 1 full night or up to 3 nights, and that's really going to depend on your CPAP machine and then if it has a humidifier or not. Now, what I really want to test this out on, and I don't know this for certain, and one of my prepping partners that knows more about these might laugh out loud when I say this, but I really want to test this out on one of those really small window air conditioning units. It's my understanding that this may run a small window air conditioner unit for about 4 hours before you have to recharge this. So while on a really super hot, muggy night in a grid down situation, instead of laying there and sweltering, at least you might be able to sleep in at least a little bit of comfort. So really, what more could you want? In a post-collapse situation, this bad boy is going to keep your fridge running, it's going to keep food from spoiling, it's going to keep your insulin protected, it's going to keep your chest freezer running, it's going to allow you to recharge your electronics and your cell phones, help you cook food, etc. But what's really important to me is that this gives me the ability to recharge like my ham radios and my other means of communication. So if we had a grid down situation, being able to communicate with your prepping partners is going to be hugely important. So I love it that I can use this to not only keep my food and stuff like that from spoiling and giving me lights, but to also to recharge my radio so that we have communication should we ever have to retreat to here. Now, the different ways to recharge this during these good times, the grid up times, the easiest way is just to simply get your cable, plug it into your wall socket, and plug it straight in here into the side. And again, this only takes, I think, an hour to completely recharge this from almost empty to completely full by charging it via your wall socket. And then the off-grid way to recharge this is by using a solar panel or solar panels. And again, this morning, I recharged this from nearly empty to 100% full in just about 2.5 hours. I started recharging it at 10:30 this morning, and then when I checked on it at 1 o'clock, it was already at 100% full. So this machine, this Mega 1, is definitely faster at recharging than any of the other machines that I own. Now, unfortunately, you do not get a solar panel with this at the $499 price. In fact, I don't think that you would find any of them at a $499 price that's going to come with a solar panel also. At least none that aren't junk. But if money is tight, and I'm sure that it is, if I were in the market for one of these, I would buy this Oupes Mega 1 power station now while it is so cheap, and then I would save up the money to buy the solar panel at a later date. In fact, the 240 watt solar panel, I used 2 of those today and got this recharged, completely recharged in 2.5 hours. But those 240 watt solar panels run $439 each, I believe. Now, if down the road you can only afford one of those solar panels, I would still go ahead and get that, because if I completely recharge this in 2.5 hours using 2 of those solar panels, I would think it would take you only 5 hours to recharge this using 1 solar panel, which is still really good. So my thoughts on this so far is I think that with the price cut that you get right now, I think this is a heck of a deal. And if you're in the market for one of these, I would be jumping on this. And while we are talking about something that will serve you well in a grid down situation, we as preppers need to remember that something like a simple cut can become infected and kill you during SHTF. So to see a whole playlist of where we learn how to make natural medicines using the plants and trees that grow around us, then click on the video that should be appearing on the screen just about now to learn what 90% of other preppers don't know. Anyways, folks, this is enough internet for me today. I do need to get back to work. But folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.